Namaskar, hello, and welcome to Vision Economics Academy. We'll continue with our series of Mission Cbse of class 12, right? And this is the second episode. We'll be covering the second chapter, that is the concept of national income. Now, this chapter is important in terms of it being a base for the next two chapters of national income accounting, right? So, this chapter is about knowing all those terminologies, all those concepts that we used in next two chapters, and ultimately would help us in national income accounting, right? So let's first start. The first concept that we come across is the domestic territory. Now, domestic territory is not the political territory that we think about generally. Okay, it's way beyond the political territory. In economics term, domestic territory includes area governed by a country where persons, goods, and capital can move freely. Right? It's an area that's governed by a country where a good or a person or capital can move freely. Right? So, national income accounting, economic territory is way beyond political frontiers. Let us see what all is included in domestic territory. It includes Cbse, and these are just the examples, few of the examples of what is included in the domestic territory, just to make you clear in this concept. Now, ships and aircrafts. Ships and aircrafts owned by a normal resident. Now we'll come across normal resident little later. Okay, between two or more countries. Like for example, if there is an aircraft of Air India and that aircraft is flying between Russia and Japan. It flies between Russia and Japan. Then that particular aircraft belongs to the domestic territory of our country, right? Now, in the same way, fishing vehicles, then oil rigs, all these things on international waters, right? That does not belong to the political territory of your country, but in international waters, of course, through exclusive rights of operation, right? If those kind of fishing vehicles, oil rigs are there in the international waters, then that would also be considered under domestic territory. Okay, in the same way, embassies, consulates, and military establishment of a particular country in another country. Like for example, India's embassy in Bhutan, India's embassy in US, that would also come under the domestic territory. Alright? Whereas what it does not include is that embassies, consulates, and military establishment of other country in your country. Okay? So, a US embassy in India would not be considered in the domestic territory of India. Okay? International organizations, offices of international organizations like WHO, UN, all these things will also not be considered as domestic territory. Alright? Now, we'll come across normal residents, which I had already hinted before as to what is normal resident. See, there is a difference between a citizenship and residentialship that we will look into afterwards. But a normal residence, what is a normal residence? Any individual, it may include also an institution. So it's not just the individual, it may also include the institution. Any individual or an institution who ordinarily resides in the country and has the center of economic interest also in that country. Now, what is center of economic interest? That can be in two broad categories, like one who lives in the institution that is located in the domestic territory and carries activities of earning, spendings, and accumulation from that very location. So, it either lives in that place or located in that place and carries all the economic activities like spending, earning, and accumulation from that particular location. Now that would be considered as normal residents. Okay, now what is not included in the normal resident is that foreign tourists coming to your country and traveling to various places, they would not be considered as the normal residents, right? And foreign staff of embassies, like Indian diplomat or Indian diplomat working in the Indian embassy of US, which is in US, would not be the normal resident of US. Okay, and likewise, a person from US working in the embassy out here in New Delhi would not be considered as a normal resident of India. Alright, so these are the two concepts, like domestic territory and normal residence. Now we will continue with residentialship and citizenship. We will see the difference as to what is residence and what is citizen. Now we'll understand the citizenship and residency concept, right? So as we are continuing with this chapter, it might get a little monotonous. As I've already said, that this chapter is all about concept of national income. Now this concept is best, for the other two chapters. Now citizenship, as we know, is a legal concept. Citizenship is a legal concept. Now citizenship can be derived either if you are born in that country, you are automatically a citizen of a country. And if you reside in a country for more than a year and your center of economic activity lies within that country, then that's called residential. So these two are different words, right? Citizenship is more of legal concept. Either you have to be born or you have to apply for it. Residentship is where you are staying in a country for more than a year and your economic activity resides in that. Now there is a basic difference between domestic product and national product as well. Sometimes as a layman we may think that domestic and national are the same thing, right? But in economics there is a slight difference. Now what is domestic product? Domestic product is a production activity of the production unit carried out by, it doesn't matter whether the production activity is carried out by a resident or a non-resident. Any production activity that is carried out within the economic territory, it will be considered as domestic product. Now, for example, Honda, Pepsi, Coca-Cola, all doing the production activity within the economic territory of a country, then that would be considered as a domestic product. Now, what is a national product? So, irrespective of you are doing the production activity within the domestic territory or outside, if the activity is done by the normal resident, if it's done by the normal resident of the country, then that would be included in the national product. Alright, for example, an Indian going to China and working for 2 months, right? Or a merchant going to some other country and doing business for 4 months. A tourist traveling to a foreign country for a month or so. So those are all the normal residents. Those are all counted in the national product. Alright, now we will further understand the key difference between transfer income and factor income. Okay, now you have to pay attention in this. Okay, because this concept will come across again and again as we go on further in the syllabus, right? Especially in the macroeconomic and in international economy. Factor income are those income that is earned by doing some productive activity, right? It is the income that is a compensatory as a compensation of your work, right? Whereas transfer income is an income that one receives without working or without doing any productive activity. For example, pocket money of a child. For example, if there is some natural disaster in a state and the central government gives or funds the particular state, and that would be a transfer income for that state, right? For example, a particular country is given aid by international organizations or helped by one developed country in times of need, right? So that would also come under transfer income. But the factor income are those income which is earned through some productive activity. So that is the basic difference between factor income and transfer income. And transfer income, however, is further divided into two categories: current transfers and capital transfers. Okay, so transfer income is further divided into current transfers and capital transfers. So let us understand as to what current transfer is and as to what capital transfer is. Okay, now the difference between current transfers and capital transfers. Current transfers is made out of income, whereas capital transfers is made out of wealth, right? Current transfers is recurring in nature. That means it's already planned, and it's already planned that it has to be made in a frequency, in a certain frequency, regularly, right? For example, the old age pension. And capital transfer is made out of the wealth. The name itself suggests it's made for the capital transfer. For example, when it is paid for war damages, where the tax is charged on capital gains, right? So all those are capital transfers, the transfer which is done for the capital formation. Okay, so from the wealth and from the income, that means current. From the income means current, that is the expenditure that is already planned, right? So the current transfer means those transfers that is made on recurring basis. Okay, for example, old age pension, unemployment allowances, etc. All right, now let us sum up the concepts now till here. We will continue with the further concepts in the next episode, where we will be dealing with things like final goods, intermediary goods, etc. And we'll just conclude this second chapter in the next episode. Till then, keep watching Vision Economics Academy. Thank you to all my subscribers for always supporting me, and keep watching Vision Economics Academy. Namaskar.